guys, welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel if you're new here. In today's video, I decided that I was going to show you all the books that I recently unhauled, and by recently, I mean yesterday. I don't know if you noticed, but my shelves are a lot more cleaner, less chaotic. Really needed to get rid of a bunch of books that I was holding on to for no reason, and now that my shelves are a lot more like organized and clean and less messy, like I feel more organized and less messy in my own head. And honestly, in a weird way, I don't know if anybody can relate, I feel more motivated to read now that my shelves aren't as messy. Does that make sense? I've been like in a month-long reading slump, and maybe that was a reason. Maybe I just saw my bookshelves, they were so messy and disorganized, and my head just didn't want to read because of it. I mean, I guess we'll see in the next few weeks if I read more because of these shelves being a lot more organized now. But yeah, so today's video will be a huge book unhaul. I don't know how many books exactly I have to unhaul, but let's put a little like counter thing on top here, and then we'll see at the end how many books I'm getting rid of. So to make this video a little more organized, I've divided the books into 4 categories. First one being books that I maybe eventually want to read, but I want to get in a different edition, so like most likely a paperback instead of a hardcover. That doesn't mean that I'm like for sure gonna go buy the paperback after this. It's more like if I come across it in the store, now that I know that I don't have my hardcover copy anymore, I'll feel better about getting like the paperback copy. That's the first category. After that, we have books that I've just had for so long and I don't think I'm gonna end up reading ever. I mean, that could change at any moment, but today for this video, I don't think I'm gonna read. So I'm getting rid of them. I don't feel like I need to keep them on the shelf. Some of them may have like specific reasons to them, but most of them it's just like they've been on the shelf for so long and I just want to make space for books that I really think I'm gonna read in the next months. The next category is some books that I've read completely and I just don't see myself reading again, or I just don't feel a need to keep the books like in my collection. Some books I've read I love so much, like I'm never gonna get rid of, but others, you know, I read, I liked, or maybe I disliked, and I just don't feel like I need them, so I feel like somebody else could read them. And the last category are books that I DNF'd. I tried to read, probably said that I was gonna give it another chance eventually, but never did, and now they're just sitting on my shelves not being read, and I want to get rid of them. So let's start with the first category, which is books that I want in a different edition eventually if I want to read them. First book in this category actually could fit into a different category, but I'm putting it here because, well, I'll explain. But the book is Six Crimson Cranes. I read this book before and I love it. I just want to have all of Elizabeth Lim books in paperback, and that includes the sequel for this book. And the reason why I didn't buy the sequel yet is because I want it in paperback, but I have this one in hardcover and I need them to match. Okay, so I'm gonna get rid of the hardcover that I read almost 2 years ago and love. Like, this was a 5-star book. Now that I'm getting rid of it in hardcover, I'm gonna feel freer to go get the paperback and get volume 1 and 2. So getting rid of this. I love this book, but I don't need 2 copies. I'm eventually gonna go get the paperback copy, but yeah, I recommend this book. Go read it. Next is Skyward by Brandon Sanderson. So same story. I want it in paperback. I never read this before though, but I just prefer paperbacks. Like, all these books are hardcovers for this category. I just want them in paperback. But I just heard that this is also very good, so you know, that's why it's not in the I've never read it, but I don't think I'm ever going to pile. Same logic with Blood Like Magic. I just really like the cover of this, and every cover that's already beautiful looks even better in paperback in my opinion. So same thing, Counting Down with You. I've heard amazing things about this book, but I love the paperback. I just like paperbacks. I sound like a broken record, but that's really just what this category is. So I'm gonna get this in paperback. And the final book for this category, I really need to stress that I want to read this book. I just want the paperback. That is River Enchanted. And the reason why I got this in hardcover is because I thought that this cover was like only the UK cover, because the American cover looks like this in hardcover. But when they came out in paperback in my area, they had this cover. So I was like, okay, well, I'm gonna get the paperback version because I can get this cover again. So I adore this cover. I just want it in paperback, and I never thought I was going to be able to get it in paperback with this cover, but now that I know that I can, I gotta go get it in paperback. So somebody will enjoy the hardcover version of this, and this is a book I want to read so bad. So now we will move on to the category of books that I've just had for so long. I don't think I'm ever gonna read them, and they're just like taking up space on my shelves for no no reason, so I'm getting rid of them. Don't take offense. If you feel like you want to convince me to read these, go ahead. So this is a bigger pile. First book in this pile is Romantic Comedy by Curtis Sittenfeld. I just bought this book when it was popular when it came out, and I think it was a book of the month pick too. So there was a lot of fuss about it, and I got it. I was influenced by the hype and I got it, and now I just don't have a desire to read it anymore. The plot doesn't really talk to me as much as it did, so I'm getting rid of it. Next I have Shadow of the Gods by John Gwynne. Now I got this book when I was trying so hard to be a high fantasy girly, and I am not, okay? So I'm gonna get rid of it, and then maybe one day I'll like fantasy, like high fantasy a lot more, and I'll pick it back up, but for now it's going to be a no. I don't think my brain can comprehend this book. I do like the covers. This is a nice dragon there, but I need to be honest with myself. If I'm gonna read fantasy, it's going to be a romantasy, so I'm getting rid of it. It's fine. Next is Take Me Home Tonight. This book I just had for forever. I don't remember when I bought this, and honestly the last Morgan Matson book I read was like Since You've Been Gone, and I've read that while I was still in high school. So it's been a while, and I just don't think that her books are my taste anymore, so I'm just gonna get rid of this, even though it looks cute and there's a dog at the back, but I can't keep a book because there's a dog on the cover, okay? I just can't. Next is Must Love Book. I got this book because I honestly thought it was kind of like a romance type of book, but it's not. It deals with a lot of like darker subjects, I've heard, like depression and stuff like that. So I just decided I wasn't in the vibe for this, and it's also been on my shelves for so long. I just don't think I'm gonna pick it up anytime soon. Next is Ariadne. I don't think I'm gonna read this. Pretty simple. It just doesn't speak to me like I was hoping it would. Tristan Strong. I bought this because it's like under the Rick Riordan Presents publishing house or something. It's with Disney Hyperion, but it's like under Rick Riordan. But I don't know, again, I've had this book for so long. I'm sure I would like it. Like, it's mythology based and I like those books, but it's a middle grade book. I don't read a lot of middle grades. I just don't think I'm gonna read this soon. This hurts because when I got it I was so excited about it, but I haven't read it and it's been at least 2 years. So I think I need to make space for other books that I'm going to read, but hopefully somebody in my neighborhood is going to like this book because I hear it's really good. I have The Darkness Outside Us. This is just a sci-fi book, I think, romance, and it's a queer romance, which I would usually love, but I'm not the biggest science fiction person. Every time this is on one of my TBRs, I don't read it, so unfortunately I'm gonna get rid of it. Then I have By the Book by Jasmine Guillory, but this is like a adult romance of like a Disney story. I think I read If the Shoe Fits by Julie Murphy and I liked it, but I don't know. I don't have a desire to read like books from this like series because it's a series, but every book is written by a different author, which I like the concept, but I don't know. I'm not really into like Disney retellings right now, so I'm gonna get rid of it. Next is The Wrath and the Dawn. I've just known about this book for so long and I never picked it up, so I feel like it's just because I don't think I'm going to ever. Maybe someday. Like, I never say never for most books. I don't know, I just don't think this is for me at the moment. This book right here is probably the book I've had on my shelves for so long, and it survived all of the unhauls until this one, and that is Darius the Great Is Not Okay. I think I was in high school when I got this, and I'm 25, so do the math. This book, like, I started a few times, didn't really feel like reading it, told myself I was definitely gonna read it one day, and like that day just hasn't come, so hopefully somebody else gonna enjoy the book. I think also this is about like just my genre, or like my preferred genres changing with time. Like that was a YA book, and when I bought it I was definitely into YA books, but now I read very rarely YA books, so I want to make space for adult books that I know I'm gonna read. Then I have a duology. So I have Sisters of the Snake and Daughters of the Dawn, and this is just, I don't even remember when I got these, the same story. I read the synopsis and I don't know if I'm gonna read this ever. It's also YA, so I don't know, again, for that reason, like I kind of want to focus on adult books. The next two books are also like that John Gwynne book. I bought these because I thought I was going to be into fantasy and like high fantasy. I mean, I feel like this one is a romantasy, but it's, I don't know, the vibe of it is giving me like high fantasy with some romance. So I have Daughter of the Forest. I hear it's really good, but again, like I'm not really a fantasy person right now, so I'm gonna get rid of it. And then I have also Sail in the Sands, which just sounds so dark and high fantasy, and I don't know if I'm ever gonna be able to like comprehend this. So I'm gonna get rid of these. So that is it for the second category. We're going through this fast. I thought it was gonna take me forever to get through these books, but here we are. Next category is books that I've read that I don't feel like I need to keep any longer. So let me go grab those. So first up, I have No Rings Attached. I've read this last year and I just felt okay about it. I like the first of this book, duology, better. I'm sorry, but the fine print, I don't think I'm gonna read the rest of the series, so I don't feel the need to keep the first one. I really did like Love Redesign, so this is not like a Lauren Asher thing. It's a fine print thing. So I'm just not gonna keep going with this series specifically, so I'm gonna get rid of the first book. But I do want to keep going with that series, and also like, what's the other one called? Like the Formula One series, like that one. I want to try that one out. Love at First Sight. I read this so long ago. This was when I was annotating with those neon tabs. You would not catch me touch one of those neon tabs now. Like, I need the tabs to look aesthetically pleasing. But, and again, I just don't think I'm gonna read this again, or I don't feel like I need it, so bye bye. I did like this book though, but it's not enough to keep it. The Housemaid's Secret. Oh, basically all of Frida's books are on Kindle, and I have Kindle Unlimited now, so I'm gonna keep the first one, The Housemaid, but all of her other books I'm gonna get on Kindle Unlimited. I just don't feel the need to keep a copy of this one when I can just get it off of Kindle. Murder in the Family. I just didn't really like this book. I didn't vibe with it as much as I wanted to, so hopefully just somebody else is gonna vibe with it more. I like the concept of it. I like how it's written, like in like a script, but I don't want it. The Roughest Draft was one of the most like disappointing reads for me. I was expecting so much, but I do hear that their other books, because this is a co-author thing, their other book, Do I Know You, is really good. So I'm gonna give that one a chance. It Ends With Us. I don't feel like keeping a Colleen Hoover book. Actually, let's get rid of Ugly Love as well. Like, I don't need these. Somebody else will like them, and also they're fully edited, so maybe somebody will enjoy A Stranger's Thought while reading these books. But yeah, I just don't need to keep these. The Kiss Curse. Okay, this one is in this category because I literally cannot remember if I finished this book. That being said, I didn't like it. If I did finish it, like I didn't love the X-Hex, and then I either DNF this or finished it and really didn't like it. It was just forgettable for me, and I don't know, I was expecting more. So anyways, I'm gonna get rid of it. I'm pretty sure I got rid of the X-Hex too, but I wanted to give that one a chance and I didn't like it. So that's how it goes sometimes. The Bone Spindle I read and I really enjoyed, but then I kind of lost interest and I never got the sequel. So I feel like that's a sign like I'm just not gonna continue on with the series, so I don't need to keep it. My Night Before Christmas. I don't know if I read this in a vlog or not. I can't remember, but I remember giving it like 2 stars. I don't need it. Ice Planet Barbarians. Again, I'm pretty sure these books are on Kindle Unlimited, so if I want to keep going with the series, I'm just gonna get them on there, so I don't feel the need to have a physical copy of the first one. I did enjoy this though. Like, the next 2 is kind of like weird. Well, the last 2 of this pile too, because I read Ray Bear, but I never read Redemptor. This was a long time ago. Look at that tabbing. So I liked it, but then I never picked up this one. And the reason why I was keeping them is because of the covers, which, I mean, look at them. They're beautiful, but I can't keep books just because of the covers. If I have like a wall-long library, yes, but I don't. So unfortunately, I'm gonna get rid of these. But these are the UK covers, so like some lucky person's gonna get to a little free library and see these, and it's gonna be like, wow, I wanna know what these are about. And we're now at the last category, which are DNFs. So if you don't know, DNF means did not finish. And usually for me, like a DNF isn't like a 100% I will never finish this kind of DNF. More like I'm not vibing with it right now, so I'll put it back on my shelves, but eventually I'll come back to it. But these books I just don't think I'm ever gonna come back to. So yeah, let's get going with the last category. First I have Amari and the Night Brothers. This is another middle grade book. I just don't think it's my vibe right now, so I'm gonna get rid of it. I did start it a few times, but I don't know, I couldn't get into it. Unfortunately, I know it's a good book, but it's not for me. The next 2, like these 2, I could probably sell them on Facebook, but I don't know. Maybe I will, because like whoever is going to find these books for free in a little free library. Yeah, so we have the Atlas 6 and the Atlas Paradox. I started the Atlas 6, I couldn't get into it, I didn't like it, so I don't need the second book too. I am keeping my original indie published copy because I really like it, and it's unique because like they don't sell those anymore, but I'm not gonna need these copies anymore, so I'll decide if I donate them or if I try to sell them, but I don't really want the hassle of selling them, so they might just go into a little free library. How to Love Your Neighbor. Still have the bookmark in it with the tabs. I'm gonna put those tabs back. I started this, didn't really vibe with it. The Paris Apartment, I just lost interest really quickly. I didn't really care. I would just rather look up the plot twist online. All the Tides and Fates, and oh no, that was All the Stars and Teeth and All the Tides and Fates. So I started this book. I didn't really get into it, and I wanted to read this before reading Belladonna just to get a feel of the author, but honestly I don't need to, so I'm getting rid of these. This one kind of hurts because I thought I was gonna love this book, but I started it multiple times and I couldn't get into it. That is The Cemetery Boys by Aiden Thomas. I don't know, I tried reading this one, it didn't really work out. I read Lost in the Neverwoods, or the Peter Pan retelling one, and I liked it, and then I don't really have a desire to read the new book, Sunbearer Trials or something like that, so I don't know, I'm just gonna get rid of it. Maybe one day, but maybe in Paradise. I started it, didn't really vibe with it, and then I was like, well, maybe next summer I'll read it. It is next summer, and I don't really feel like reading it, so I'm just gonna get rid of it. This one was supposed to be in the pile of the books that I've read. It's Excuse Me While I Ugly Cry. This was a good book, I just don't feel the need to keep it. Then summer reading, again, like Meet Me in Paradise. Like, I thought maybe next year I was gonna like it. I don't know, I don't think I'm gonna. Then Radiance, I think I can get them off of Kindle Unlimited. I'm not 100% sure though, but I started this book and I didn't really like it, so. And the final book is Dream On by Angie Hockman. Yeah, this was like such a promising book, but I couldn't get past like the 50-page mark, and unfortunately that means I'm gonna get rid of it. This is another book that I like wanted to keep just because of the cover, but like I said, I can't keep a book because of the cover, so I'm getting rid of it, but somebody else is gonna love it. So that is it. All of the books I'm getting rid of and donating into my community. Honestly, it feels good. Like, I feel like now, first of all, I have space to get new books. You know, that's a plus. And I also have just cleaner bookshelf. I'm getting rid of books that I've had for years, and I was basically just like hoarding them. It feels good to get rid of them. Some of them are a bit like bittersweet, but I'll get over it. So the total books today that I'm donating slash getting rid of is this, because I'm not gonna count them right now. I'm gonna count them when I'm editing. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you made it to the end of this video, let me know if you ever do like big unhauls like this, or if you just kind of like get rid of one book at a time, or if you like never get rid of books, like you're keeping all of your books. I would love to know. On that note, I hope you have a wonderful day after this. Take care of yourself, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!